gentlemen. I hope you've been enjoying the sweet, smooth jazz music going on in the background. How are you all doing? This is EU Happy Hour, the only show that discusses the intricacies of EU politics with a beer. Isn't that right, Lambertus, my co-host? Cheers.
Hi, Elliot. I love the introduction, by the way. I love how you mentioned we're the only show covering the intricacies of the EU.
So, with a beer. With a beer. With a beer.
With a beer. That is true. With a beer, you're probably right. You're probably right. But yeah, great to be here again.
Let's see if everything works. Can everyone hear us? Can everyone hear us? My favorite host says, Imre, very, very sweet. Thank you. We even have a viewer from Brussels. Lassie in Brussels says, sounds amazing. So I guess, yeah. So what are we going to be talking about today, Lambertus? Many things have been happening in EU world, of course. I think one of which is the biggest one, was revealed yesterday with the new commissioners. We're going to be talking about all of that, of course. But nonetheless, there's also some smaller things, like our good friend Thierry Breton, friend of the show. True, almost a mascot. No, I'm kidding, of course. And a little bit about the Brandenburg elections, which you're going to help us with mostly, Lambertus, because I am lost on local German elections. So I think I got everything, didn't I? Did I miss something? Did I?
Oh no, let's jump right into it. So commissioners, right? Commissioners.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll share the commissioner screen. Here we go. It's from I think you can see everything.
Perfect. So, by the way, while we are sharing this, a little bit of advertisement. This is all in a video we released this morning. So if you want the short version of this, I mean, don't leave, obviously. But if you want the short version afterwards, we also have a video on this. But nonetheless, today is all about jumping in, a bit more detail. So maybe Elliot is. What do you think? What do you think of the massive unveilment from Ursula von der Leyen yesterday? Basically, these 26 commissioners on the screen. What do you think? Yeah.
Well, I think the first interesting thing is the amount of renew we can see. I think that was a interesting fact. I think we definitely can talk about that. And the other thing is that we have a new commission as well, EU Defense, which I looked a little bit into, so we can talk about that as well.
Yeah.
By Lithuania, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Andrius Kubilius.
Yeah, and maybe just to get the audience on board. So what you're seeing here is the commissioners that were elected yesterday, or not elected, but presented by Ursula von der Leyen yesterday. So the top line at the very top, I just want to make sure everyone understands. That's Ursula von der Leyen. I mean, everyone should know her. She's the president of the European Commission. And then the row below, you see 6 commissioners below her. And these are the executive vice presidents, quite a mouthful, of the European Commission that she presented yesterday. And you can see also what their portfolios are. So basically what they're going to be working on. Hope you can see it if you zoom in. And then below we have another, oh God, let me check my math. 20, yes, correct. 20 commissioners, no vice presidents, just commissioners from different countries in the European Union with their respective portfolios. And lastly, very quickly, the flags are, the country they're from. And you can also see a little color next to each of the commissioners, which is basically the political group that they're from. So, so that's the overview, really, just to make sure we're all on board. And by the way, very quick note before I give it back to you, Elliot, is it's not confirmed yet. This is what von der Leyen's proposing.
Yep.
And I mean, the next step is the European Parliament still has to vote this in favor, right? So that's the process.
Yes. Is there any risk? Like, I know there's like this almost like an exam the commissioners have to take in order to get the role. But do we what is the rate of that failing? That's just a question that just popped into my mind. I have no idea what that would be. But I feel like most of these who get like their portfolio will get it, right? Or am I wrong about that?
I think, you're jumping in the deep end, right? So already there's 2 commissioners on the screen, which I think are definitely in danger of losing their portfolio, maybe also even their commissioner role, and they will be exchanged. So we'll get into those 2 a bit later. I don't want to spoil the surprise.
Okay, sure. No, sorry. Yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll get to that. But, why don't we start what do you think? I mean, let's start with executive vice presidents. Is there one here that stands out to you where you're surprised or which you like? I mean, let's start there. We don't have to talk about Ursela. We know who she is. Yeah.
I think the obvious choice to talk about here would be Mr. Séjourné or Séjourne from France, because he's the person that replaced, or let's say, is the second choice for Thierry Breton on prosperity and industrial strategy, which was, I guess, the biggest drama that we've heard surrounding this entire topic for the past few days.
You talk about the top right, right? The top right.
The top right.
Yeah.
Also, here is a. Oh no, actually, never mind. I was about to roast you, but I'm not going to anymore because I realized it was my own fault. All right. So Stéphane Séjourne, who is there instead of Thierry Breton. I think that's the biggest one of these. I mean, of course, I'm a bit of a fan of Kaja Kallas, but that's because I don't know. I really liked her stances and her rhetoric when it came to the war in Ukraine. I know that there's definitely some things that people inside of Estonia don't like her for, but I only kind of evaluate her on foreign policy, so that's why I kind of like her. And the rest, I'll be honest, I don't really know that much. So those two stand out for me.
What you haven't done your research before this live stream, Elliot?
I have, but on two, I guess, more irrelevant people.
So, I mean, Kaja Kallas, maybe let's dive into her a little bit. She's from Estonia. She is the Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Chief, which is basically the foreign policy.
Yep.
Well, I think you call the High Representative in the European Union. Yep. And she basically, Miss Borrell, there we go. Villa mentioned it, exactly. So she's basically, foreign policy for the EU. And she used to be the Prime Minister, right, of Estonia, of Estonia, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yep.
And what really surprises me, Elliot, is Eastern European countries, they really went strong on foreign policy and defense, because if you look at the defense commissioner, Andrius Kubilius, he is from Lithuania. So that's another Baltic state.
Yeah, wonderful pronunciation as well. Very impressive.
Okay.
But I mean, on the top, we can dive into it instantly, or we can first talk about the vice presidents here, because it's actually interesting. I spoke with the what was the title again? Lead spokesman for the Commission of Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. So I guess you could see it as a colleague of Miss Kallas, like last week on a live stream. So it was that was very interesting, and he spoke a bit about the tasks and everything that they do there.
So what's your challenge? Give us a bit. Come on, Elliot. Give us a bit of detail. What does she have to do the next couple of years?
So what surprised me a lot is that we read foreign affairs, but of course foreign affairs is a competency mostly of the member states themselves, not of the European Union. Only with the what's it called, the veto power, right? So everyone has to agree on anything related to foreign affairs and security policy. So a big part of the job that Ms. Kallas is going to have is not only to be representing EU outside of the European Union, but also getting the multiple different member states to all agree on the same topics, which is a difficult task. Let's just say that sometimes, especially when you have 27 different member states on all of these, all with a different opinion, and that's going to be a big part of her task, getting everyone to agree on a single thing, which is not impossible, but it's definitely not easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. That's the big one. And especially when you have, I mean, I hate to bring them up every time, but if you have someone like Orban doing trips to Russia to appease, appease is a strong word, but to meet with Vladimir Putin, and then flying over to China, then flying over to the States, basically pretending to be the high representative himself rather than Borrell, I guess. Now Kaja Kallas. Yeah.
There's a good question by Emre, actually. He said both Kajas and Virkkunen, the lady from Finland, also a vice president, both have security in their title. So who's responsible for what kind of security? And looking at, actually, that's a good question. I first thought it was because Kaja Kallas will be looking more at security policy on foreign affairs, so internationally,
exactly.
And Virkkunen will be more for the internal stuff in the European Union.
It's actually a brilliant question, because I think that's what it is, what you just said, Elliot, but I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure. And by the way, a lot of what these portfolios are is a bit of speculation, because what they're going to do now, I
Right.
mean, if they get approved, is, write what their priorities are within that portfolio, of course. I mean, yes, there is a lot in Ursula von der Leyen's big speech already, but it's going to be more detail later. So yeah.
I think that's like more of a meta discussion on this entire thing, but like creating a commission for every single country really gets you with some strange competencies or like overlap sometimes, where every single member state needs to get their own commission. You get some double up, including maybe in this case.
You say that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Elliot, to interrupt you. You say that, but look at the Belgian colleague. So if you go here, Hatja Labib, the Belgian one.
Yep.
She has preparedness and crisis management. Okay, I can imagine that's, if the EU is in crisis, maybe a COVID crisis, or, not COVID, but like, basically a crisis, that she has to like manage that and prepare the union for it. And then she has equality. So that's like two completely different things. So it's almost like, well, we kind of have to expand as a union because apparently we have more topics to cover.
yeah. Just keep throwing things in there. I mean, some people are making some, like Ampa saying cybersecurity for Virkunen, and then Imre rightly also says internal stuff. I meant internal security, but that could also go into the commissioner for internal affairs. I think we have one, right?
Internal. Wait 1 second.
Mediterranean. I mean, there's also Maroš from Slovakia with economic security, which is also another security. I'm just picking it out here.
Yeah. So normally the way it also works is that the executive vice presidents, so basically the top 6, they will have like multiple junior commissioners working underneath them, right? So for example, I assume that Andreas Kubilius will be working a lot with Kaja Kallas, underneath her. And the same could be said from Wopke Hoekstra, the Dutch one. He's got climate, net zero, clean growth. He'll be working a lot with Teresa Ribera Rodriguez from Spain. So, you can already see that there are certain pillars.
Yeah, and I could also see Mr. Kostas Kadis from Cyprus also being part of that. If we're talking about all of those stuff.
Yeah,
a little bit. It's a little bit less, of course, because like fishery is a big thing, like as a trade of hunting fish. But I can also imagine some overlap being there of the health of oceans and seas around the European Union, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And maybe I like the comment that Villa made. He's talking about Teresa Ribera Rodriguez. So let's be honest, she got a massive portfolio. I don't think clean, just, and competitive transition. I mean, with von der Leyen's ambition of hitting the 2050 climate neutrality, right? That first, and that secondly, also for a second term. I mean, that's how she got the Greens to vote for her. So it's obviously still a big part of her agenda. And yeah, she got it. Teresa got it, which I'm not sure if it was a surprise. Let us know in the comments, Villa, if you think it's a surprise. But it's definitely a big portfolio for Spain. I mean, she did used to be the deputy prime minister, I guess, in Spain. But I mean, what do you think? What do you think? Any comments on her?
On Teresa, me personally, no. Congratulations to her, I guess. Villa says, very funny to hear you pronounce Spanish with names with a French R. It was for people outside Spain, but Spanish government said it was certain.
Yeah.
Her first announcement was that she won't be anti-nuclear, which I think is a pretty good thing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this whole anti-nuclear stance, I mean, me as an opinion, talking as Lambertus, I think it's I don't think we should be anti-nuclear, especially considering we have very few natural resources for energy. Talking about, gas, things like that. I think we should look at alternatives, not just renewables, but also things like nuclear. So, I mean, we're getting off topic, but yeah, I agree with you.
So I want to talk a little bit about our friend, or well, maybe not friend, but Thierry Breton, and this new replacement, because there were some interesting things. Hey, there he is. There were some interesting things happening surrounding his, I guess, commissionership. That surprised me, really. I mean, for those that don't know, I think most people watching here do know him, but Breton, he played a big role in a lot of EU policy making, especially on multiple digital stuff. That's why he got some enemies as well, especially Mr. Elon Musk, because he's been very vocally unhappy about Mr. Breton on Twitter, still refusing to call it X. And yeah, it is his resignation. He was very unhappy. He criticized Ursela publicly, even accusing her of plotting against his personally plotting against his reappointment, which was interesting. Maybe a look into the depths or the labyrinths of the EU. What would you call it? Ivory Top.
So it was two big things, right? Like after the election of von der Leyen, the election within the EPP party. So everyone, von der Leyen is from the EPP, EPP group, the blue color you can see. She had a couple of within the EPP party vote against her, so she didn't get 100% of the vote. And the first thing that Breton did was literally make a post on Twitter saying, "Well, not sure if von der Leyen should be president again." It's like, dude, he's your boss. She's your boss, man. How did you think that was a good idea? And then anyway, and then there was a second scandal with Pieper, Pipergate.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, that was basically von der Leyen appointed someone without consulting Breton, although it was in Breton's area. And there was a lot of backlash, and especially from Breton against von der Leyen. So that pissed von der Leyen off even more. And
and then you had these. I mean, he accused. I think one of his quotes was, "You ask France to withdraw my name for personal reasons that in no instance you have discussed directly with me, and offered as political trade-off an allegedly more influential portfolio for France in the future college." So maybe Macron and/or France weren't happy with the portfolio they were going to get, so they sacrificed Breton in like as a trade off for a higher commissioner place. Yeah.
So this happened on Monday. So because everyone thought Breton was going to get the position on the top right, or at least a position right, and then von der Leyen made a secret, just like you said, secret deal with. I mean, that's what the speculation is with Macron.
Yeah. I mean, what other secret deal? Yeah, maybe. Well, we will probably never know, or at least not for a while. But I find that very interesting. And like, there's let's say, I wrote a news article from Euronews, and they quoted it as saying, Breton was not the first to challenge the crown referring to Queen Ursela. Very, very well put. But basically, they go into detail how multiple people try to they call it challenge. So I guess maybe criticize, or not always being going through the same door as Miss Ursela of Miss von der Leyen, excuse me. Like Frans Timmermans, he was the Dutch executive for the vice president for the Green Deal, and he retired. He left European politics to go pursue his own career in national politics, running for the parliamentary elections. But he was also very vocal about not really liking von der Leyen. He gave her little to no support. Even Mr. Borrell, who has already been mentioned, also chastised von der Leyen for handling in the Israel-Hamas war. And even like his term is also ending soon, so he's going to be going out. Nicolas Schmidt, who was the lead candidate for this from the Socialists, apparently ran against von der Leyen, but he also wasn't very happy. I mean, in short, there's many people who are leaving. EPP is taking control of the commission, as you can see through all of these light blue colors. That's the EPP, right? If I'm not mistaken, on your image.
Yeah, the light blue is.
Yeah. So basically, they were alluding to Ursela being having a very strong position because so many were from her own party, and her biggest critics, I guess, could say, have either left or have been deftly put aside in the politics.
Yeah, it's her commission, right? You can notice that she definitely did stamp her authority. And I think it's a good question here from Villa. Oh God, I'm going to have to pronounce his name, and it's going to be completely wrong. Sejourne. Okay, there we go. Is Sejourne's position right now more powerful than what Breton was? So Breton's previous position was, what was it? Internal market, I think.
Yes, it was the internal market.
Exactly. And now Sejourne has industrial strategy. So I honestly think this is like again, I could be wrong, but I speculate this is a dream come true, because if you know Macron, he's been stamping home industrial sovereignty throughout like the last 2 years. So this is something, a portfolio he really wants. And that's why I really buy into the speculation that he made a backdoor or backroom deal with von der Leyen. It's like, okay, we'll kick Breton out and we'll put another one of my little minions, because let's be honest, Siorne is a minion of Macron.
Bruno as well,
exactly. Into the executive vice president position for doing industrial strategy. He's worked. Yeah, he's a close ally of Macron, so works out for him.
And in that sense, you could kind of see how it happened, right? Where Macron really wanted this position. Miss von der Leyen offered it him for a price, and he was happy to pay the price. That is the speculation, okay? Nothing of this is confirmed, but that's the idea of it. Oh yeah. Someone Ampa asks, what's the color coding? The color coding is the color of the European groups that these people belong to. So yellow is Renew, light blue is EPP, red is S&D. I'm just assuming here. That just makes sense in my head. Gray is Independent, I would say, and then the last is purple. Oh yeah, purple.
Last two even.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Dark blue.
Purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say purple is for the Patriots. That would be my guess.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that. But go ahead. Yeah.
And dark blue would be then. I know ECR is the final one. Yeah, because there was one ECR position. Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, whoever, there's one mistake in this image, and whoever can guess that mistake, you get special. I don't know what would you get? You get a free month of Patreon.
Whoa, big! I was going to say a big shout out on the screen, but
there's a massive mistake in there. I can't believe I messed it up. But when you're working late on a video, you make mistakes. So anyone who can get it, let me know. So yeah, maybe talk about that, Elliot. Moving to the next topic, the top left, we have Raffaele Fitto. That's probably the terrible Italian pronunciation, but he's from Italy. Yeah, and he is from the ECR, so obviously that makes sense. Meloni's party is the ECR in the European Parliament. What do you think of this pick? An ECR person doing cohesion and reforms.
So, okay, there's two parts of this. Part one is for the portfolio he received. I think I would have wanted to see someone else there, me personally, but for getting a ECR person in general into the commission, I think is a pretty smart move. Because let's think about let's think back to the last parliament elections a few months ago, or at least a few months ago. The right wing won pretty big. Just in general, like everything further to the right than the EPP, they won. Okay, so I think it is maybe to get a bit more legitimacy. It is a smart move to include someone from the right wing to maybe get a bit more democratic legitimacy in the eyes of the, I guess, general citizenry of the European Union. So in that case, I think it might be an all right move. But yeah, go ahead. You probably have an opinion on this as well.
I do agree with your point. I mean, I don't think it's bad at all to have a bit of proportional representation also in the commissioners. For me, the where I get nervous is when I see his portfolio. So again, I don't know enough. Cohesion, okay, that should be fine. But reforms is what I'm concerned about, because I am not gonna, as Lambertus, again, not as you made simple, but as Lambertus.
I think we don't have to say it every time.
I know. But I just want to make clear. I feel that I feel reform is very important for the EU, right? So I think removing the veto vote, for example, is a really important thing to do. I'm not sure how much influence he does to stop that or to start that, because there is already a proposal going through the parliament and now the council. But having an ECR person in charge of reforms, I mean, they are called European conservatives and reformists, so they do want reform, but the kind of reform they want is probably
different
not
kind.
one. Yeah, it's a different kind of reform.
Yeah,
exactly. So that's why I'm a bit nervous about the reform part. I would have preferred him to have another portfolio.
Yeah. So I really wonder how like what happened in the back rooms there where he got cohesion and reforms, because like you said, I don't think. Okay, it definitely doesn't help that Mr. Fito is on reforms when you want to try and pass European reform in the getting rid of veto rights sense. Because looking at the ECR standpoints, that's like almost exactly opposite of, I believe, what they want. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So in that sense, if you are for that European reform for getting rid of the veto, but all the other, I think, pretty interesting things that's included in this reform idea, that is all probably, well, I don't want to say not going to happen, because, like you said, it's right now with the parliament, but it's
The council.
definitely going to be the council even. Sorry, it's definitely not going to help, right? So yeah.
Yeah, I love Damahon's topic. Damahon in the comments, thank you for that comment. I think ECR should have gotten defense, since ECR wants a united EU army and defense alongside national armies. So I'm not saying that we should have a united EU army, but I think ECR, one of their strongest points in their portfolio, which sets them apart from the patriots and the sovereignists, is their focus on defense.
Totally.
And I really think that, I completely agree. I think that would have been a very cool portfolio for them to have. But that went to Andrius Kubilius from Lithuania.
Yeah. And well, okay. Yes. No, yeah, you're right. The only thing I wanted to add still was that also ECR is pretty pro-Ukraine, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that in that case, it could have been very fitting as well, as it pretty much aligns with what the current EU's policies are. But yeah, I guess it's wait and see what Mr. Fido says, his public statements, his policy. I'm very curious what he's going to be doing.
I wonder, Elliot. I really wonder if it's not more. I mean, by the way, I agree with the comments. He is good. He was the prime minister, I think, of Lithuania at some point. This Andrius
two times even.
2 times even. Like, yeah, exactly. So he's obviously a strong pick, and I like Eastern countries picking up.
I can talk a bit more about him.
Okay, you talk about him. You talk about him. Yeah, go ahead. Let's talk about him.
Yeah, sure. So Mr. Kubilius is from EPP and 2 times prime minister, and he is very famous, or at least to the people that know him, as a pretty staunch anti-Russian guy. So Russian hawk, very much on the side of sending more aid to Ukraine, beefing up defense for Europe. So in that sense, it is kind of looking pretty good if you agree with those statements of sending more aid to Ukraine, investing more in defense in Europe just in general. And the most important thing is he is the first ever of defense and space, right? Because it's a new portfolio. I wrote some other things down that were interesting. So his tasks, I think, is the most important part here. So he would be charged with stepping up the production capacity of the bloc's military-industrial complex. As some of you might know, we promised Ukraine 1 million 150 millimeter shells a while back, and we promised to do that within a year, but that didn't really work out, and that was largely because we don't have the industrial capacity to do that anymore. So that is like one of the biggest topics that he's going to be in charge of. Let's see what else I wrote down.
I love the research, Elliot. Good man.
Listen, I come prepared. Okay, take this very seriously. So and other things which I thought was kind of interesting would be and it sounds very futuristic, the European Sky Shield, which would work similarly, if people know it, the Iron Dome in Israel, also much talked about. Basically, the air defense shield of Israel, a similar system is being, or people want to create in Europe, so that in the event of any missiles, airplanes that shouldn't be there, that European cities are safe.
Probably a good thing.
What are you typing there in chat?
Nothing. I'm just engaging our audience, Elliot. I'm engaging our audience.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, and then what else? Oh yeah, a big part was the new, I guess, the defense industry program. There's a new rollout, so he's going to be working with that. I mean, in general, the entire theme here is that he is let's say the goals are very high, the ambitions are very high, but the budget isn't very big. So people are like Ursela is asking a lot of this man, but the budget is just not there, and neither is much of the legal framework that is necessary for many of the things that are wanted. So many see this as like yes, it's a good thing, but like without the budget and without the laws in place, it's kind of it's very hamstrung, right? It's handicapped in the sense that he can't do everything that he would probably want to set out and do, which is a sad thing in this case. I believe so.
Yeah, I also wonder how much of that position is like a symbolic one, and how much of it is like a real position. Because, like, let's be honest, defense is just not a competency of the EU. So what that means is the EU doesn't have the responsibility of defense. It still lies solely with the member states, right? Yes, we can do shared procurement, we can do stuff like that, but it's very limited, just like you pointed out. And budget, like you mentioned, is also a good point.
And I even remember just the third point now. It's not only those two. It is also that member states are also pretty reluctant on some of these things, like especially the largest, the EU powerhouse. Germany is also very icy, reluctant on all of this new, let's say, military talk of increasing weapons, increasing spending, more guns, bigger armies, integration. In all of communication, Germany has always been a bit more careful on the military side, and I wonder why that is. World War II is the answer, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Germany, so I notice it. Like, a lot of people are very, very reluctant, even when it comes to military aid to countries like Ukraine.
Yeah.
We have a sorry,
Go ahead.
Elliot. We got a question in the chat. So from Gareth Brown, EU made simple. How can it be that Ursula's commission, if she doesn't get to select the commissioners, surely the president knows one person in each country of the EU? So I think the Gareth's question is like, why does she not get to elect them herself? And I mean, again, it's probably in the EU. I can answer it if that's all right. It's probably in the EU treaties that the way it works is that the country proposes a candidate. Von der Leyen, talks with the country and can maybe try to change it, but really it's the country's responsibility. And then she gets to then allocate portfolios. So it's like a balance of power almost.
But also a very strong negotiating position, right? So just like what we just talked about with Breton and Séjourne, that is like directly involved with von der Leyen. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that. Like, she has the power, von der Leyen, to basically be like, well, I don't like your candidate, so either replace the candidate, or I'm going to give that candidate terrible portfolio, something that basically means they're going to be doing very little for 5 years. And we'll get into it in a minute. There is someone on this screen who has a very bad portfolio. Anyone who can get in the comments gets another. Oh, here we go. Gets another Patreon from us. Anyway, sorry, Elliot, you were going to say something.
No, I just, of course, big shout out to Mr. Breton for the 2 BGN, which is Bulgarian currency. I mean, it starts with a B, so I'm just guessing that's Bulgarian currency. But thank you very much. And he says, naive stance, given that Russia is a fascist state. Okay. What is that referring to?
I don't know what that refers to. BGC, what are you referring to?
No, the message is clear, but what was the referring to? So anyway, what are people saying?
Well, 1, 2, there's a couple that got it right. It was too easy, wasn't it? It was too easy. Do you know who we're referring to, right, Elliot?
Who are we? Oh, the bad position?
Yeah. Should we talk about him now? Should we talk about him?
Sure. Yeah, Hungary, right?
No. Hungary. God, why am I laughing so loud? You wanna give an introduction about Olivier Valleher, or should I explain who he is? Varhelyi?
Okay, no, I'll tell you what I know about him, which is not a lot. So it's going to be not a lot of talking for me. So, Mr. Varhelyi has the portfolio of health and animal welfare, which I want to make fun of. However, certain people very close to me really care about animal welfare, so I can't make too much fun of it, okay? But I guess in general, you would consider that as a portfolio that doesn't really have a lot of influence within the European Union. And I guess my suspicion here is that Hungary, in this case, got punished for their demeanor and behavior throughout the past years. So Miss Ursela just gave them, here, have health and animal welfare. Enjoy. Goodbye. That's what I think, at least.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Varhelyi is also very disliked by the EU. So it's not just Mr. Orban. Excuse me, that beer is going down. Interestingly, anyway, it's not just Mr. Orban. It's also Varhelyi, who is not exactly well liked in the European Parliament. He's got caught with quite a few scandals. But yeah, the scandals. Yeah, anyway, the big one, of course, like you mentioned, is Orban, who is obviously a very, very difficult character, and he put forward Olivier Varhelyi, and he's the only patriot person on this page. So on the page, so that whoever has been living under a rock, the Patriots are a new political group in the European Parliament, and they are led by Orban and Le Pen. Basically, it's their party, their group, and he is the only one on here from that group. So yeah, he's obviously a contentious choice and not liked by the Parliament. And Elliot, he's our first candidate who might, even with that portfolio, get this. How do you call it? Voted down by the European Parliament.
Right, because he doesn't have any expertise in that area, or
well,
why?
They just don't really like him. I mean, there's loads. I mean, I've got to open here. There's a couple of things he's done. So yeah, so he's had an investigation against him by the Parliament about breaching the Commission Code of Conduct, because he was in the Commission last 5 years too. Maybe we should have mentioned that.
He broke the Code of Conduct?
Yeah, that's what the Parliament says. So
in what way? Do you know?
Let me read 1 second. Serbia. Yeah, he was playing down Serbia's rule of law backsliding and supported like a separatist action in Bosnia. And Varhelyi obviously called it fake news. Then in 2023, during a parliamentary debate about the Western Balkans, Varhelyi was caught on the mic saying, "How many idiots are still left?" So
certified bad boy. Okay.
Quite the character. Yeah. And then quite after the Hamas attack against Israel, Varhelyi then basically said that all payments to the Palestinian authorities should be suspended immediately. So that's a bit controversial because some people would see that as a good thing. Some would not see that as a good thing.
Yeah.
And then, there's blackmail accusations. Oh God, there's a lot, man. The list goes on.
Okay,
so
it's quite
a hot figure. Yeah.
Okay.
But imagine that, right? The last portfolio you had, I think, was enlargement. Yeah, it was enlargement. That was the last 5 years, and now he got animal welfare. Sorry. Yeah, so it's quite.
So in that sense, it's quite the punishment then, which is fun. Well, I mean, I guess maybe that's kind of Orban's middle finger back, is sending the guy who has been, I guess, breaking code, like being the bad boy in the commission already. So they just have him again. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Yeah. Some questions, I guess, from the chat. Or do you want to say anything else? Sorry.
I think another massive portfolio is Piotr Serafin from Poland.
Yes.
He's got budget, which I think is a big one. And you already mentioned it earlier. The EU needs money. It needs money.
Yeah.
So he's the one that's basically putting it forward. And let me ask you a question, Elliot. I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you think the EU should borrow money? Like EU together, right? Something that France would love and Germany would hate.
So and the Netherlands also would hate. So the frugal, was it frugal 4, frugal 5, one of those two. So okay, if you're putting me on the spot, I'm quite the Europhile, all right. So I'd say in general, more integration, more good. However, okay, I said it with a big caveat. I have not looked into the economic consequences of sharing debt and what that would entail. So mine is just based on feeling. So just basically take that with a large bucket of salt, my opinion there. But yeah, that's my take.
Right. Yeah, because the German perspective here is very much against. They're worried. Yeah. I mean, you have to give the Germans one thing, and that is that they are quite conservative, I guess, at managing their money, and their debt to GDP ratio is among the best in Europe, right?
Yeah.
For a big country like Germany, it's very, very good. I think it's only 60%. So basically,
the max is 80, right? Sorry, the max amount of debt to GDP ratio is 80%, if I'm not mistaken.
No, France is at 110.
Yeah, okay. They agreed, or the point that they want to go to is 80%. I think that's the one.
That's your sweet spot.
I guess no. Like that's the. I think they wrote it like it's law, or maybe not law, or maybe there's no consequence
Actually,
if people are going over it, something like that.
actually, the law for joining the euro. So, for example, Bulgaria, Romania, all these countries that maybe want to join the euro, they have to have less than 60%
Or was
of
it
debt to
60?
GDP. It's 60.
Yeah,
Not
there
80.
you go.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what
exactly.
I'm thinking of. Yeah.
So Germany is actually quite within the rules of the eurozone.
Yeah.
But then again, Germany's growing currently with like minus 0.2%, right? And if they invested, I mean, if you increase your debt by 1% and you grow by 1%, then your debt is still at 60%, right? That might have been terrible math, but I think it is. Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
that sounds good to me. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
terrible with numbers. Okay. Okay. We'll have someone fact check it in the chat.
Yeah, I
Before
love we got fact checkers. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
The more beer we drink, Elliot,
Yeah.
the worse our facts are gonna get.
Yeah, the worse our math is gonna get for certain. Yeah. Okay.
What
Yeah.
about
So yeah, a little bit. No, we can talk a little bit more about Serafin, because he is. I think he's probably a very, very influential person right now. Because not only does he is he in charge of the budget, a very big thing is also he's in charge of the blocking funds due to the violations of the rule of law. He is part of being able to decide on that. So Mr. Orban is going to be looking at this guy. Maybe like Poland, very famous previous bad boy of the European Union, maybe a bit more reformed now after Donald Tusk's victory. But yeah, he has the power now also to block, especially blocking the funds to Hungary, which was like a total of 22 billion, and like half of it is still frozen, something like that. So he's going to be in charge of that, which is a very, like, it's one of the main correctionary measures that the European Union has to like kind of reel in the bad actors within the European Union. So that's a very big thing.
Interesting.
This is the guy I looked into a little bit as well, and he's like a big experienced guy when it comes to European politics, because right now he's the Polish ambassador to the European Union, but that's gonna change obviously. Before that, he was the chief of staff to Donald Tusk when he was the head of the European Council. After that, he went into he was a director of transport, telecommunications, and energy at the Council of the EU, EU's general secretariat. And then he also had a quick saying a quick job is a bit redundant or like diminishing, but he also served as the Secretary of State of European Affairs at the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So he's basically the big EU guy. Okay, he's a lot of experience with EU, and that kind of, I guess, it makes a lot of sense for Tusk to send him to the Commission. And yeah, all right. I think the talk was that because Tusk was a big supporter of von der Leyen's second term, he got the budget position as a, like, quote unquote reward, right? Especially because there's going to be a new fiscal year coming up, which takes 7 years, and I feel like that's
It's
like
big.
something like that. So it's definitely an important position, and yeah, basically that's what I had about it.
I mean, this is also a massive topic, right? And I really think, actually, talking about it, maybe it's worth a live stream or even a video, talking about EU's resources, because the EU currently mainly gets its money by member states paying into the EU.
Yes.
Right. And what does it mean? It means that member states have a lot of power in the EU. Basically, the council. The council has so much power, the EU member states. And if you change that, if you get the resources, so the EU is financed by another means. I mean, I'm not saying taxes or on us, but there's loads of other ways, taxing multinationals. It doesn't matter. That would be more beneficial, because then the EU has more power to act on it by itself, independent of the member states, which would be a preferable model for many.
Yes. And also, like, I mean, many of the things that we're talking about now, you have to keep in mind that the amount of budget the European Union has to do all of these things, compared especially to like a country, or I mean, the United States, China, like to these other similarly sized countries with this, like roughly the same amount of population, is very small. Like the budget the EU itself has is comparatively very little, because, like you said, most of the money still lays with the member states, and they're heavily dependent on what the member states want to do and stuff like that. So when we're talking about the Defense and Space Commission, he's totally screwed, because the budget of research and development in defense in America is like, I mean, okay, compared to America, obviously the biggest military spender by far on the planet. Maybe it's not the best comparison, but still, it's magnitudes
You're right.
bigger. So
You're
yeah,
completely right.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, bonus brownie points to anyone in the chat that can guess where most EU money goes. To what area?
Oh yeah, I know this question.
Yeah, I know, it's quite a simple question, but let's see if the chat knows. Oh, by the way, here the poll in the chat shows that most people would prefer to have common EU debt, which is interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Not many Germans in the chat then.
Not very true. No, neither. Was it like Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, and another Austria?
Sweden, was it? Frugal state?
Yeah, the frugal states, Sweden and or Austria, one of those. Yeah, people are saying, people are already guessing it.
Yeah, agriculture. It's agriculture by far. So yeah, it's agriculture.
Very important.
By the way, Elliot, you mentioned Austria. Should we have a look at the commissioner for Austria? I also thought this was interesting.
Commissioner for Magnus.
I'm not sure if you know him. Where is he?
On the right side.
There he is, Magnus Brunner.
Yes.
He's a finance guy. That's, I know a little bit more about him, but that's about it. But I'm very interested in his portfolio, internal affairs and migration.
Very big one.
It's a massive one, but I almost laughed when I saw it, because I mean, Austria is known for when it comes to migration, not exactly being the most cooperative, right? I mean, look at Schengen. Remember Schengen? They blocked
all Bulgarians and Romanians. Close your ears, okay?
If there's any Bulgarians or Romanians in the chat, they're probably like want to quit the EU now that Austria's got internal affairs and migration.
Yeah, I feel bad for them.
It honestly made me laugh. It really made me laugh. And then migration too. I mean, you know, Austria, they're very, very, very anti-migration, which maybe that's a good new approach, to have like a very anti-immigration country taking that portfolio, because it is an issue in Europe, of course, and many far-right parties are growing because of it. Maybe that's good, but I still think it's funny. I mean, it is.
Yeah. No. So this kind of is in the same area as giving the ECR and the Patriots for Europe a seat at the supposed table here. I think putting someone who's quite big anti-migration, like hard stance on migration, might be a way of Ursela to appease the rising right vote. And of course, migration, like, let's not pretend it's not a big issue, because it definitely is. It's everywhere. It's like one of the biggest topics that's being talked about today. So I kind of see that as a way of Ursela trying to appease those people. Okay, I put a hardliner on migration. Please calm down. Please don't come for me. I'm trying here. At least that's how I'm reading it.
Yeah. You might be right. I just feel a little bad for our Romanian and Bulgarian friends.
Oh, I absolutely do. Yeah.
Do. The way Austria blocked. I mean, literally, Romania and Bulgaria. I made 2 videos on this topic, and the amount of GDP and money they're losing from not being in Schengen is insane. Yeah. Like literally, I think it was like 1.6 or 2% per year, and now
Jesus.
Yeah, and now they've got like I think they've got air Schengen and sea Schengen, but still not land Schengen, and that means all
that's
the
the biggest one
at the border that's the big one. Like, come on, guys.
They gave them air and sea as like a band-aid measure to show them, hey guys, look, you're making progress. But like most, I want to say, like, this is a number I pull up out of my behind, okay? But I'm pretty sure 90+% of that trade is going through the land borders anyways with the European Union.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have a port. Romania has a port, quite a big one. I mean, there's lots of conspiracies, right? That there's reasons why some EU countries don't want Romania in Schengen because of their port. What's the port called again? I can't remember. But there's a big port with lots of trade coming in.
Yeah, on the Danube, near the Danube River.
Anyway, so there was rumors that the Netherlands blocked Romania's entry for a long time because they didn't want their port, Rotterdam, to be challenged.
Right.
But I mean, it's conspiracies. There's no facts there. It's just
they say people are saying
Constanta.
Constanta. Okay.
Constanta. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
But the Netherlands lifted their block, right? A little while back. Yeah.
They did.
Is it still just Austria being difficult?
Romania is Austria, and Bulgaria, I think, is Austria and Romania for full access. Again, if there's Bulgarians in the chat, please correct me. But I think that was it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I hope that isn't this like on the right? Like, wasn't there some plans of saying, yeah, dude, we're getting there. I promise. 2024, 2025 is going to happen. Trust us. Come on, guys, a little bit longer.
With
Something like
Magnus
that.
Brunner as commissioner.
And that was before him. Okay.
Oh shit. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Oh, yeah.
Yes, at this point, Farron says in chat, at this point, Turkey will join the EU before Bulgaria and Romania join Schengen. Yeah.
Well, who is doing enlargement? Let's have a look at enlargement. Marta Kos from Slovenia.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be honest. I don't really know her at all, really. Do you know her?
Wait.
Slovenia.
No, but Renew. So it shouldn't be that bad. In the sense of, I guess they're a bit more open and liberal for that. Okay.
Actually, the interesting thing is, I mean, I don't know why I'm saying this now, but anyway, Hungary has the presidency at the moment, and one of their goals was to move forward with enlargement. So that's interesting. Anyway, random comment.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
Probably not for Ukraine, but definitely not for Ukraine. I think it was the Western Balkans where they were talking about. Anyway, side comment.
Yeah. Sorry, politics for fun. I am biased, right? I am my own person.
Yeah.
She's from the news, so she doesn't suck. I don't. No, that's politics for fun. Paraphrasing me, because that's kind of basically what I said in other words. Now, like, I honestly don't know. I don't know her, so I don't know her stances on it. So I couldn't really tell. Yeah.
I mean, you talk about Renew, so I just changed the screen a little bit. I mean, when you see this?
This is impressive.
It is impressive, isn't it? For Renew, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, for Renew. Yeah, it is. I wonder how, like, this is the times where I wish to be a fly somewhere in these negotiation chambers, just listen in, because I wonder how they managed to do this to get to get this to get 5 people into the commission whilst they became 5th in the parliament elections, right?
Yeah, they did. They came 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane, right? That a party that came 5th has the second most government spots. I mean, that's almost what really the commission is. Really, for me, just to make it simpler, is the government of the EU, if you ask me, right? It's like ministers almost.
It is, yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, and they basically came 5th in the elections, and they got the second most spots. But again, I guess that's just how coalitions work, right? Yeah.
And S&D only 4. This is a very right-leaning commission.
There is a big mistake. Sorry to interrupt you. There's a big mistake. The S&D has 5 because one person in the EPP, the Romanian lady, she needs to be moved over to S&D. So S&D and Renew Europe have the same.
Did you move recently, or is that just a mistake on?
It's me at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Fair enough. Okay.
Kind of like overseeing that. I actually double checked twice, and I still oversaw it. So.
It happens to the best of us. Don't blame yourself too much.
Yeah, so apologies everyone watching. Yeah.
But like still 5, I mean, S&D was second largest or third?
They were second. They were second in the elections. Yeah.
Damn. Wrecked.
And look at these guys. This I think is quite hilarious too. The Greens didn't get anyone, even though they supported von der Leyen. But I guess their governments, there's no Green government in Europe at the moment. So I guess that's why. But still.
And the left also not. I mean, if you are, I mean, people will say what they want, but I feel like if you're a right-wing person, then I think you can be quite decently happy with the results here. I mean, it's all center-right EPP, obviously, and Renew is center, like liberal. So probably not the biggest fan of those if you're like a Patriots for Europe voter, but still, I mean, in general, it's definitely leaning right.
And by the way, the chat makes awesome points, right? I mean, I know this, guys. We both know this. It's the governments sending them, so it's based on the government in the country. But nonetheless, it's still very interesting to look at, I think. Yeah.
Cool. I mean, I think I said at the beginning that we were planning on talking a bit about Brandenburg as well. Like, do you want to fly? You want to fly through that as well? Because I know that you don't have much time left.
Yeah, let's have a look. Okay, maybe I can go a bit longer. Let's look at one more picture. I thought this was interesting too.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to ask you this, what you think about this. So basically, what I'm showing here, everyone, and definitely watch this video after the stream.
After the live stream.
It shows the commissions, the European Commission again, but it shows women, compared to men. So one of von der Leyen's main important...
Wait. Hold on. Sorry to interrupt you. Someone, what was the mistake in the list of things? I don't think we mentioned, did we?
Oh, we didn't. It was Romania. So it was me putting the Romanian commissioner. So I'll go back here. So for anyone, we need to look who got the mistake right first. But basically...
Yeah, I don't know who did.
Roxana Minzatu, she's not EPP, she's S&D.
I see.
So this color here...
I see. Okay.
The color
okay.
is wrong.
I don't think anyone got it. Let's see.
Yeah. I think someone did get it. I'll go back in the chat and see who it was. So if you're on Discord, by the way, whoever got it first, let me know, and we'll get a little prize for you.
Otherwise, we'll do a shout out next live stream.
Oh, by the way, anyone that's not on Discord, get on Discord now. It's in the description. So
yes, very good. Very good.
All right. Okay. So basically, what I want to show here, before we go to the last topic of the day, is this is the gender balance of the commission. So let me get it right. Come on. Oh. Okay, here we go. So basically on the left, you have the ladies of the commission. On the right side, you have the men. And obviously, von der Leyen is a female. And then you see in the executive vice president, there's 4 women and 2 men. And then the rest of the commissioners, there's a lot less. I let them just yap a bit. Do I yap too much? I might talk too much. Sorry, guys.
No. That's okay. That's mean. No. I just wanted to let the guys in chat know that I saw their comments.
I think in these live streams, also chat. If I do talk too much, just tell me to shut up because it's definitely one of my problems. No. Anyway, so
go ahead.
Anyway, all I'm trying to say is von der Leyen went out there with a massive statement and said, I want a commission 50-50. Went to all the member states and said, 1 woman, 1 man, please. Yep. I want to choose between them. Only 1 member state did this. It was Romania, I think. It was the only one. All the others just sent men or mainly men. And now we have a commission with 11 ladies and 16 men. Yep. So what do you think of this? Do you think it's good that she tried to set out for 50-50, or should the best person get the job on the spot, Elliot?
Wow, Lambertus. So I'll keep it in mind. I'll take some like moral dilemmas with me next time and ask you the same question. So this is the ancient discussion of, do I think the best person should get the job? I mean, I think almost everyone would say yes, the best person should get the job, but I also don't. I think when we're talking about this, is more referring to the discussion behind it. Is are these women being considered for their position, for those positions at all? So do we even know who's getting the best position? So like I find it very difficult to make a hard statement about this because I have no idea how all these countries chose their people. But in general, I think a 50-50 rule is a bit dumb. But I guess in this case we have a bit more viewpoints, and especially when you're looking at the VPs, definitely women are having the overhand there. So.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, in the end of the day, and I'm probably going to it is proportional representation, right? So I'm not saying.
Okay, interesting. You're going that route.
No, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm playing devil's advocate because I read with a lot of interest the comments on the video that had been posted this morning. And there was a lot of discussion about this rule of having 50-50, and if you do have a proportional representation system, 50%, let's just say 50% of the population is women, right? So maybe they should also be represented by 50%. Not saying that's what I believe, but that's the counter argument.
But but the commission isn't necessarily the representation, is it? Wouldn't the representation be in the parliament?
Which is even worse. I think like 64% is male, I think.
64. I
think so. I might be wrong. I think it was 64, something like that.
Yeah, but like if we're talking about the commission, I wouldn't really be thinking too much about representation because the parliament is, or like the commission is the let's say executive body of the European Parliament, right? So I that's what I would respond to that. And yeah, I don't know. It's difficult in general. I would say I don't like any form of that discrimination. So just like. I think it's equally bad to say, well, you're not getting the job because you're a man, equally as bad as saying you're not getting the job because you're a woman. Obviously, no one's saying it like that anymore. But, in hyperbolic terms, right? And then the question is, indeed, how far are you going to be taken? Are you going to be looking at ethnicity as well? Are you going to be looking at race? Are you going to be looking at cultures or like religion? Or I think it's going to be very difficult to find someone who's very Okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. But in any case, I think it's fine like this. I think it's let's see, probably good thing that a few more women got there. I mean, the big honcho is a lady as well. So let's put a poll. I'm interested as well.
Yeah, I put a poll already. So when you see me typing, I'm very interested to see what. Oh, it's a big no. I think. Let's see how they vote.
Yeah.
All right. So I know you want to go to Brandenburg. So let's quickly have a last look on the commission.
Yeah.
Elliot, what do you closing words? You happy with what she? Oh, sorry. Okay, so 2 questions. Are you happy with her with her vision, her proposals here? Team. That's the one. And who do you think might fail the parliament when the parliament votes?
Interesting. Okay, so overall, it's a mixed bag for myself. I think the important positions that mostly align with my own views, like the foreign affairs and security policy and the prosperity and industrial strategy, even things like the budget and defense, have all gone to people that I personally deem very capable, and I generally align with their views. So in that case, I'm very happy. The only main thing that I'm a bit iffy on is the reforms bit, but we'll have to see how Fito handles that thing. So in general, I think I'm pretty all right. I like, for me personally, it could have been a lot worse, but that's because I guess I'm a bit more all right with the EPP vote, personally. Yeah. What about yourself? Like who fails? Well, you already alluded to Oliver maybe failing. I know that Wopke probably isn't going to fail his because he already passed that same exam a few years back. Who else might fail? I mean, I would have to. What else could be difficult?
So
I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Who did you say? Who do you think will fail? Sorry, who will fail the parliament vote?
Yeah. So you're saying Hungary, so I'm going to say that as well.
Oliver Varhelyi, I think he has a good chance of failing because he's got quite a few scandals that he might lose on. Yeah.
And what about? I have no. This is going to be a total guess. Miss Ekaterina Zaharieva from Bulgaria, startups, research, and innovation. That sounds like a difficult topic, one that I would fill, so maybe she would do it as well. That's totally a guess based on nothing at all. Okay, so
yeah, I think Fito might have a good chance of failing too. I mean, I don't think so.
Actually, that's logical. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because the Greens, the left, the EPP, maybe sort of to the extent, S&D, Renew, they might vote against him.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And in the same of Olivier Varhelyi also failing. I mean, if he is on animal welfare and is being judged by, S&D and Greens and the left, then I can see him probably falling flat on his face, honestly.
Yeah.
If they're not to his liking, right?
Interesting. Well, a bit of promotion.
So no, what is your no? You're not going to get away with this. What do you think? What is your general vibe?
I'm just, before I say that, I think it's interesting in the comments. Zaharieva from Bulgaria keeps getting mentioned, but I just don't know her well enough.
So I guessed right.
Sorry?
I guess that was my second prediction.
BGC Veton is imminent here. 40%, he says. Okay,
failure.
I don't know. I need to look into it, but I think the two most likely to fail is the Patriots candidate and the ECR candidate, because, well, basically the House, even though there's a lot of right wing, is just a bit still weight-wise a lot on the left side of the ring. Anyway, but you never know.
Your feelings.
My feelings are those two: Vito and Varhelyi.
Okay, but like about the thing in general, about the commission in general.
I'm not happy with Austria. I think he's very capable. Brunner, he just needs a different portfolio. He's more of a finance guy anyway, so a bit strange that he's getting internal affairs and migration. Not sure what his experience is in that area. I don't like that choice. I am also concerned about, I told you already, Fito having reforms. I'm a bit not upset about, but a bit disappointed. And I would have actually quite liked, I mean, who's got energy? We haven't even talked about energy.
Yeah, it's from Denmark.
Denmark and
then
energy.
Jorgensen and housing is a pretty important one as well.
It's a
Yeah, we haven't
very
talked
big
about
one.
him.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about it, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Those two mainly, I guess. Otherwise, it's all right. I'm okay with it. I quite like France having industrial strategy. I think that's great because I quite like Macron's vision about strategic autonomy. So I think that's great. Otherwise, I think it's a bit weird with some of these commissioners. I'm talking too much again, but like Hadja Ladi from Belgium having like two different topics where it's like, okay, so what is she actually doing in the end? So, there's a couple of question marks I have.
Yeah, they should have been disqualified. They were too late with their proposal anyways. So
yeah.
Antonio also is bringing up some points against Callas being not too diplomatic. She should get picked for foreign affairs. Yeah, I think she is, but I think this is a done chapter now. So let's not open up another discussion.
We will go back on this, by the way. So our live stream, when this is finalized, we will. But let's go to the next topic of the day, and that is, let me share a new.
I'll put up our beautiful faces while we change.
I'm googling now. I'm googling now. 1 second. Let me.
You're good. No one sees the screen, anyways. Okay.
Okay, so now you can see this, right? So this is the.
Yeah, let me put it back.
Yeah.
Yes, you should be able to see this now.
So we're gonna have to make this quick, as I do need to go.
Okay.
But like very quickly, for people that don't know, I'm going to make a great video on this. It's all about Brandenburg. So Brandenburg is a province in Germany, or a Land, I guess, is what you call it in Germany. And there's elections this Sunday evening, or Sunday, and Sunday evening the election results. And these are the current prognose is in German, the current estimates of who will win. And Elliot, tell us about the AfD, who is currently polling as number one. Who are they?
Oh God, who are they? Well, I guess most would classify them as far right. Some might even go as far as saying that they're. We had an interview with someone from Deutsche Welle, and she said it was legally allowed to call them a neo-Nazi club or something like that. Was it something along those lines?
No. There was one. Okay. So be a bit careful. They're definitely not. But there is a candidate in Thüringen who.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And he himself, you can classify as a Nazi because or at least classifies Nazis a bit strong. But I think his rhetoric.
No, but but wasn't it like
neo-fascist?
Neo-fascist. That was it. Oh yeah, Politics of Fun is asking, will there be a live stream on Sunday? And yes, my dear viewer, there will be one. So keep your eyes out on that. We're going to be going through the results live, analyzing it with a guest. It should be fun, but it's gotta let's see this as a little teaser for what's to come on Sunday. So the AfD, rather far right, although many people don't want to classify it as such, which, hey, listen, it is. I don't know what to tell you, but very popular, I guess, especially within the elections of Thüringen and Sachsen that we saw. Definitely a big rise throughout the entire country. From maybe you know a bit more about it, but from my own memory, they were always at the bottom of the polls every time in the, let's say, 5 or 6 years ago, and they've skyrocketed like crazy.
Oh, wow.
I think especially because of the migration discourse, right? And people really being fed up with the current policies of the current governments. So in the Bundesländer, they won big, and I feel like they're pretty big in the east of Germany. And
they
correct
are.
me if I'm wrong on that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the AfD in a nutshell of what I know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think what's super interesting is two things you just mentioned, like AfD becoming potentially the biggest party in Brandenburg, which they weren't last election. The last election in Brandenburg, which was in 2019, it was the SPD, so the second place on the list.
Okay.
And for people that don't know, SPD is Scholz's party. So Scholz is the prime minister, or the Bundeskanzler in Germany. And if he loses against the AfD in a state, in a province where normally they were strongest or are strongest, this says a lot about his chancellorship, right?
Yes.
And it's not just SPD. If you look at here, the Greens, so he's the SPD, so Olaf Scholz, he's currently working with the Greens and the FDP. And the Greens won't even hit 5% if this happens. And that means if they don't hit 5%, they won't even make the local government within Brandenburg. So
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy. It's such a a vote against the current government in Germany. And there's speculation whether this will happen is again, speculation, that the government could, call it a day if this goes really bad.
As in retire earlier, like all elections. Yeah, right.
Again, full disclaimer, I don't think it will happen because I'm not sure if it's in their interest, but there is speculation that it could if the Brandenburg result is terrible.
Yeah, it is possible, I guess. Interesting. So, but it says plus 3% for SPD. What is that compared with?
That's, I think, from the last poll. I think it's not great. This
okay.
Yeah. So I need to find. Let me see if I can find one that shows it against last time. But that'll probably take too long. 1 second.
Yeah. Well, in general, I'm seeing the ruling coalition, like the national ruling coalition of the FDP, the Greens, and the SPD, right?
Yeah, the Greens are also involved, Villa. So let me have a look. Yeah, he said SPD and SCDU. It's also the Greens. He said that. Okay, yeah, he said it now.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 3 parties at the moment which are in power in Brandenburg, and the question is so the SPD and CDU. Look, if you count that together, that's about 40%, and the Greens won't be there. That means that coalition can no longer work if the Greens don't make their 5%. Nope.
Yeah, but then what else? It looks very difficult in
BSW. You're going to have to work with BSW, which is insane.
Yeah, because everyone this is a national thing, right? Like all the other parties have excluded AFD from working with AFD.
Yeah,
is that correct?
I know. Yeah, that's not going to happen. They all said no. Yeah. But how long are we going to not work with the AFD?
So during the live stream of the Sachsen and Thüringen elections, I think we had a similar conversation about it, where many, the biggest party in the Netherlands, the VVD, very vocally said, we're not going to be working with PVV, the political party of Geert Wilders. Many of you might know. We're not going to be doing that, but a few months into the negotiations, or I think even a few weeks, they did twist, and they did end up going into a coalition together with them. So a similar thing might happen here.
I don't think so.
Feeling. But yeah,
I don't think so, because if they do, no one will vote for them in a year's time in the national election.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Because they're breaking so much trust if they do that.
You reckon it's that big of a breach in trust?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I live in Germany. I know that there's people literally voting for CDU, even though they don't like CDU, right? Mm-hmm. So CDU is currently, not in Brandenburg, but nationally, the CDU, the center-right party, is currently polling the highest. But there's literally people voting for them only because they see them as the best chance against the AFD at the moment. But if then, of course, they break that trust and ally with the AFD, Jesus, hell will break.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. It makes sense, yeah. But in that case, it sounds pretty difficult to form a coalition, at least in Brandenburg, because then it would be what's SPD, CDU, and BSW.
Yeah, Elliot, let's park this for our next live stream. So we're going to go into detail. And Villa, you are outplaying the EU Made Simple. So send us that link of your amazing poll data on Discord, please. And everyone else, please join our Discord if you haven't done so already. And Elliot, any closing words?
I just had some in my mind, and now I'm completely blanking. In general, yes. Make sure you're going to be watching us on Sunday, because it's going to be a pretty interesting live stream. We're going to be going into these elections a lot. With one definitely interesting guest, maybe a second. We're still trying to make that work. And join the Discord. Many discussions to be had there. Follow our social media as well. That will make a certain person in our team very happy.
And also join Patreon, guys. I know you're not into super chats, so please just join our Patreon. We really need your support to stay, to make things happen. So if you haven't done so already, there's loads of Patreons in there already. So Villa, thank you. I know you're one of our patrons. Missed out anyone else? I'm not sure if. Oh God, now I'm being put on the spot. Any other patrons? Thank you for your support.
I think, there's a pretty. The thing that I just remembered, we had to shout out Damon still, because he got your error right. He was the one. The people credited him, so we gotta give him a shout out somehow.
We will.
Okay, that's all. Yeah. So everybody, thank you for watching, and hope to